Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into something super practical today, helping you nail that next job interview.
Yeah, job interviews. They can be a little nerve-wracking.
Totally. But we've got an awesome resource to help you prep. We found this discussion by Dr. Jesvant Rathod, where he's basically coaching students on how to totally ace their interviews. We're going to break down his key points, the strategies, those little nuggets of wisdom that can really make a difference. So consider this your cheat sheet to interview success.
He covers a lot. I mean, everything from how to present your story in a compelling way to showcasing your problem-solving skills.
Yeah. By the end of this deep dive, you're going to walk into that interview room feeling way more confident and prepared. So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, Dr. Rathod starts with the basics. How you talk about yourself and why you're even interested in the role. It kicks off with that classic question, tell me about yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, okay, time to unpack my whole life story.
Right. Let me tell you about my childhood pet hamster.
Exactly. But Dr. Rathod is very clear. Keep it professional, laser focused on your career journey. What's important to remember here is, why are they even asking this question?
I mean, it seems simple enough, but there's got to be more to it, right?
Right. It's about first impressions. Interviewers, they often size you up pretty quickly. So a concise, impactful answer, that's what grabs their attention. It shows them you're someone who understands their time is valuable and you can communicate effectively even when you're under pressure.
You're not rambling on and on.
Exactly. So as Dr. Rathod emphasizes, stick to your career path. Highlight those qualifications that are directly related to the job you're interviewing for.
Yep.
And another important thing, keep it brief.
Brief. Okay, so how brief are we talking?
He suggests around 2 to 3 minutes, max. And that's not just about being polite, respecting their time.
Sure, it's polite, but there's more to it.
It also shows them you can synthesize information. Get straight to the point. Think about it. In almost any job, you need to communicate clearly and efficiently. And a tight, tell me about yourself, it's like a mini demonstration of that skill.
You're showing, not telling.
Exactly. And Dr. Rathod, he even suggests a specific structure for this. Chronological, starting with your most recent experience and then working your way back.
So why chronological? What's the benefit?
Well, it lets the interviewer see your current skill set immediately. And they can also see how your career has developed, how you got to this point. By leading with those recent achievements, especially the ones that align with the job description, you're basically creating a tailor-made professional summary.
It's like saying, hey, look, this is exactly why I'm the perfect fit.
Exactly. Making that connection for them nice and clear. Now, after you tell them about yourself, the next question is usually, why are you interested in this role? And, simply saying, I need a job, but that's not going to win you any points.
We all need a job, right?
Right, we do. But Dr. Rathod emphasizes, do your homework. Research the company thoroughly.
So it's not just about knowing what they do, but really understanding their values, their goals, their culture.
Exactly. This question, it's your chance to show them that you've done more than just skim their website. You get what they're all about.
You're not just applying to any job. You're genuinely interested in this specific company and what they stand for.
Exactly. By connecting your own goals, your aspirations with the company's mission, you show them you're thinking long term. You're not just looking for a paycheck. You're looking for a place where you can thrive and grow. Dr. Rathod even suggests pointing out those specific aspects of the role that really get you excited. Maybe it's their industry, their company culture, maybe even a particular challenge that the role presents.
So it's about showing that this opportunity clicks with you on a deeper level. It's something that you actually care about.
Yeah. Genuine enthusiasm. That's the key.
Okay, let's talk strengths and weaknesses. This is where a lot of people start sweating in interviews. So when it comes to talking about your strengths, Dr. Rathod has some interesting advice. It's all about relevance.
Right. He says, pick strengths that are not only relevant to the job requirements, but also suggest how you can help the company, solve their problems.
So it's not just about listing your positive traits. It's about positioning yourself as a problem solver.
Exactly. Think of it from the company's perspective. They're looking for someone who can come in and make a difference.
And he warns against those generic strengths that everyone throws around, like I'm a hard worker or I'm a team player.
We've all heard those a million times. So what do we do instead? Be specific. Back up your claims with concrete examples. And Dr. Rathod, he loves the STAR method.
STAR method. So remind us, what's that all about?
Situation, task, action, result. It's basically a storytelling framework. So instead of just saying, I'm great at communicating, you actually tell a story.
You give them the situation, describe the task you had, the actions you took, and the results you achieved. That's like a little mini case study.
Exactly. And the STAR method, it's not just about telling a good story. It actually taps into how our brains work. It helps the interviewer remember what you said.
It's more engaging, more memorable.
Exactly. And Dr. Rathod also says, quantify your achievements whenever you can. Put numbers to your successes.
Why are numbers so important?
They provide proof. They make your claims more believable. So instead of saying, I increased customer satisfaction, you say, I increased customer satisfaction by 20%.
That's a lot more impactful.
It is. It shows them you're results-oriented. And finally, always tailor your strengths to the specific job you're applying for. What's considered a strength in one role might not be so relevant in another.
Now let's tackle the dreaded weakness question. Everyone has weaknesses, but how do you talk about them without shooting yourself in the foot?
Well, Dr. Rathod is all about honesty, but strategic honesty.
So you don't want to pretend you're perfect.
No one's perfect. In fact, if you say you have no weaknesses, that can actually work against you. It can make you seem, a little bit insincere or lacking in self-awareness.
So choose a weakness, but choose it wisely.
Exactly. Choose something that's not absolutely critical to the job you're interviewing for. And more importantly, focus on what you're doing to improve.
Show them you're self-aware and you're actively working on your weaknesses. That's a sign of growth mindset.
Exactly. You're turning a potential negative into a positive. Dr. Rathod gives a good example. You could say, I sometimes struggle with delegation, but I'm learning to trust my team more and give them the space to excel.
It shows you're willing to learn and grow.
Exactly. But he also warns, don't mention weaknesses that are essential for the job. If you're applying for a role that requires meticulous attention to detail, don't say you struggle with accuracy.
That's not going to win you any points.
Not at all. Okay, so after strengths and weaknesses, they usually move on to assessing your problem-solving abilities.
We want to see how you handle those tricky situations.
Right. And Dr. Rathod says the STAR method comes in handy again, especially for a question like, describe a time you faced a challenge at work.
So walk us through how the STAR method applies here.
It's all about structuring your response. You start with the situation, set the scene. Then you describe the specific task you were facing, the challenge. Next, you explain the actions you took to address the challenge. And finally, you share the results of your actions.
What was the outcome? Did you succeed? Did you learn something valuable?
Exactly. And the emphasis should be on what you did, the actions you took, and the positive impact you made. Choose a challenge that's relevant to the job if possible. It helps the interviewer see how you'd handle similar situations in their company.
And don't just focus on the problem itself.
Right. They want to see your thought process. How did you analyze the situation? What different approaches did you consider? How did you arrive at your solution?
You're demonstrating your analytical skills, your critical thinking abilities.
Exactly. And Dr. Rathod makes a great point about highlighting the lessons you learned. It shows them you're reflective, you're always striving to improve.
You're not afraid to admit when you've made mistakes and learn from them.
Okay, so another common question in this area is, how do you prioritize your work? It sounds like they're trying to gauge your organizational skills, how you manage your time.
Right. Because in most jobs, you're going to be juggling multiple tasks, deadlines, priorities. They want to know that you can handle it all.
Exactly. Dr. Rathod suggests describing your personal system. Do you use to-do lists? Do you block out time for specific tasks? Do you use any digital tools or apps?
Show them you have a structured approach. You're not just flying by the seat of your pants.
Exactly. And it's not just about having a system, but also being adaptable, because priorities change all the time, right?
That's the reality of any workplace.
So demonstrate your ability to reprioritize, to adapt to changing demands.
Be flexible.
And Dr. Rathod also mentions it's helpful to mention any organizational tools you use.
Like project management software, calendars, anything that helps you stay organized.
Right. It reinforces the idea that you're on top of things.
So explain how you decide what's important, what's urgent, and how you handle those situations where you've got multiple competing priorities or deadlines.
Those are all crucial elements of time management, and the interviewer wants to see that you've got it handled. Now, let's move on to teamwork and communication. These are essential skills for pretty much any job. So they might ask you something like, tell me about a time you worked in a team.
Seems straightforward, but what are they really looking for with this question?
Well, Dr. Rathod emphasizes, focus on your individual contributions within the team. How did you support your colleagues to achieve a common goal? It's not just about saying, we work great together.
You need to showcase your specific role in the team's success.
Exactly. What did you do? How did your skills and expertise contribute to the team's overall objectives?
And it's not just about getting along with everyone.
Right. Talk about how you communicated within the team, how you handled any disagreements or conflicts.
Demonstrate your interpersonal skills, your ability to collaborate effectively.
And if possible, mention a specific achievement that the team accomplished together. Ideally, something quantifiable.
A project delivered on time and under budget, a sales target exceeded, something tangible that shows the impact of your teamwork.
Exactly. And Dr. Rathod says, the ultimate goal here is to show them that you understand the value of teamwork and collaboration. You're not just a lone wolf. You can work effectively with others to achieve shared goals.
Now, another question they often ask in this area is, how do you handle stressful situations? Everyone faces stress at work, so they want to know how you cope.
Dr. Rathod suggests mentioning specific techniques you use to manage stress. Do you prioritize tasks to regain control? Do you take short breaks to clear your head? Do you practice mindfulness or deep breathing exercises?
Show them you have proactive strategies for dealing with stress. You're not just letting it overwhelm you.
Exactly. And share a brief example of a time you stayed calm and effective under pressure. Maybe you had a tight deadline, or you had to deal with a difficult client.
A real-life example can be very powerful. It shows them you can handle the heat.
Right. And highlight your problem-solving skills. How did you approach the situation? What steps did you take to resolve it?
You want to show them you're solution-oriented. You don't just panic. You think clearly and act decisively.
And Dr. Rathod emphasizes maintaining a positive attitude is key. Even when things are tough, you can stay positive and focused.
You're not letting the stress get you down.
Exactly. And it all comes back to those foundational elements we talked about earlier: organization and time management.
If you're organized and you're managing your time effectively, you're less likely to get overwhelmed by stress in the first place.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to leadership and initiative. These are qualities that many employers value highly. So they might ask you something like, give an example of a time you took initiative.
They're looking for those go-getters, those people who see a need and take action without being told.
Exactly. They want to see that you're proactive, you're not afraid to step up and take ownership. Dr. Rathod says, share a specific instance where you saw a problem or an opportunity and took the lead in addressing it.
It could be something small or something large. The important thing is that you identified a need and you took action.
Right. And highlight the positive impact of your actions. What was the outcome? Did you improve a process? Did you increase efficiency? Did you solve a problem that was affecting the team or the company?
Quantify the impact if possible. Show them the tangible results of your initiative.
And walk them through your thought process. Why did you see the need for action? How did you come up with your solution? This shows them you're not just acting impulsively. You're thinking things through, you're analyzing the situation, and you're coming up with thoughtful solutions.
You're demonstrating your problem-solving abilities.
Exactly. And Dr. Rathod points out that this question is also about showcasing your capacity for independent work. You're not waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You're taking ownership. You're being proactive.
You're a self-starter.
Now, another common question in this area is, describe a time when you showed leadership. And this doesn't necessarily mean a time when you were in a formal leadership role.
It's about showcasing your leadership potential, even if you weren't officially in charge.
Exactly. Dr. Rathod says, share an experience where you stepped up and took the lead, even if you didn't have a fancy title. Maybe you were working on a group project, or maybe you saw a teammate struggling and you offered to help.
It's about demonstrating your ability to influence others, to motivate them, to guide them towards a common goal.
Right. Focus on the actions you took, how you communicated with your team, how you delegated tasks, how you inspired and motivated them.
And what was the outcome? Did your leadership lead to positive results? Did you achieve the desired outcome?
Highlight those successes. And Dr. Rathod says it's important to show that you can lead by example. You're not just barking orders. You're rolling up your sleeves and working alongside your team.
You're setting the standard.
Okay, so we're in the home stretch now. Let's talk about long-term goals and fit. A classic question in this area is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, this one could be tricky.
It can, but Dr. Rathod has some great advice. He says, align your answer with the role you're applying for and the potential career trajectory within the company.
Show them you thought about your future and you see this position as a stepping stone.
Exactly. Talk about your desire to grow, to learn new skills, to take on more responsibility, but keep it relevant to the company and the role.
Don't get too specific about job titles or salary expectations.
Right. The focus should be on your professional development within the context of the company. You're showing them you're committed to a long-term journey with them.
And finally, the ultimate closing question. Why should we hire you? This is your last chance to make a strong impression.
Dr. Rathard says, be direct. Tell them exactly why you're the best candidate for the job.
Summarize your most relevant skills and experience and connect them explicitly to the company's needs.
Highlight your unique strengths, what sets you apart from other candidates, and don't hold back on your enthusiasm. Show them you're genuinely excited about this opportunity.
You're passionate about the company and the role. You're eager to contribute and make a difference.
Right. It all boils down to this. Preparation is key. Thoughtful, well-structured responses. That's how you ace an interview.
Absolutely. And Dr. Rathard, he has a few more nuggets of wisdom to share.
Oh yeah, he's got plenty more. He recommends practicing your answers out loud. Get comfortable with the flow. Research the company thoroughly, go beyond their website, and prepare some insightful questions to ask the interviewer.
It shows you're engaged. You're curious.
And don't forget the basics. Dress professionally, make a good first impression, and always send a thank you note after the interview.
It's a simple gesture, but it shows you're appreciative and you're serious about the opportunity.
All these little things, they can add up and make a big difference. So as you're thinking about your next interview, here's a question for you. What is one specific area of your preparation that you can refine today to create the biggest impact?
Think about your current approach. What can you improve? What can you do to boost your confidence and really nail that interview?
We hope this deep dive has given you the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
Best of luck out there.
Good luck.